Okay, that was my intro music, and I was just using the Launchpad keyboard mode for the Vector Sequencer by Five12 to play through my Disting EX multisample piano library. Which is very good fun. I'm going to be running through a whole bunch of features that are enabled through Launchpad integration to the Five12 Vector Sequencer. I won't be covering everything because there's a lot. There you go. That's the intro finished. All right, so what we're going to start with is the session page. Keep in mind, the Vector has 8 parts. They route to your 8 different devices, or can up to 8 different devices, be they MIDI, drum machine, synth, CV-controlled Eurorack, whatever. That's these 8 rows here. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. So this row here, 2, is your mutes, and they apply to each of your parts. Now you'll see on the screen on the Vector, parts 1, 7 and 8 are lit, just like 1, 7 and 8 are green down here. I made them all green, they're all lit. And that means all of them are active or all of them are muted. I'm only interested in parts 1, 7 and 8 today. Part 1 is a monophonic part through a Tonestar. Part 7 is a Disting EX in multisample mode, chord mode on the Vector. Part 8 is drum mode on the Vector, and it's running a Squarp Rample via MIDI. Okay, so getting straight into it. Parts, mutes. Okay, I'm going to put in a quick melody on the monosynth part. So I'm going to go to step edit mode, select part 1, which is blank at the moment. I'm going to hit run. You'll see the cursor start to move from left to right. All right, it's that easy to enter in notes on a grid with the Launchpad. Okay. The other way you can do it is by going to record mode, and I'm going to select on real-time grid USB-A, and just to save myself, I'm going to change that away from USB-A, so I'm only running one sound at a time. Back to part 1, which is my monophonic part. Right. I just recorded a horrible melody on the keyboard, so we're going to clear that. And to help me get the melody in, I need to keep time, don't I? So, yes. We've just put a kick on steps 1 and 5 on a drum part. Okay, so now I want to record some real-time notes in. You get the picture, okay? With a little bit tighter playing, and my cat just rubbed against my leg then, which was not helpful. You can actually just... and you're there. So, real-time step recording to the grid's been a feature that people have been after for a while on the Vector, and it's here in the beta, which is good fun. Now, let's move back to drum mode because I want to show you how the mutes work. So I'm step edit, drum, got my kick happening. I'm going to put a clap, then this. All right. Just showing you how easy it is to program in step edit mode a drum beat. Okay, so we know that we can mute channels, or sorry, parts by just doing that. That's all of the drum kit muted. But what if I just want to mute one or more drum particular voices? In the Vector, a chord part or a drum part can have 4 voices each. In a chord, that would be 4 notes. In a drum part, that would be 4 potential drum or whatever triggered sounds. So what I've just done now is I've got the drum part active, however I've muted all of the voices individually. It's pretty sweet, okay? So let's just leave that part alone, and we're going to go take a look at the chord part. So I'm going to go back to select my chord part. I'm going to go into rec mode. I'm going to say that I want USB-A enabled on that, and I'm going to go back to part 1 and disable USB-A, because otherwise I'll hear a whole bunch of sounds at the same time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is stop that running, and I've got on through USB-A, which is the Launchpad X, and I'm going to select this, and what I'm going to do then is go back to pitch mode and shift edit encoder 9. I told you I wouldn't be going through basics here. What I've just done there is changed the chord mode to custom chords, and watch the screen carefully. As I press the notes on the Launchpad in the keyboard mode, watch what happens. It's populating the notes that I'm hitting as we go. Now this is a new feature that's just been implemented. As you can see, there's a little bit of a discrepancy as we move through the steps, but they're all there. They're all being recorded. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to here, slow that beat down so we can hear it a bit more nicely. I'm going to add some gates, make it 4 long, and hit run. So I've just really simply and quickly entered some terrible sounding chords. You could do a better job, I'm sure. Okay, let's clear that. Put it back into custom chord mode. And now I've got it as step and through mode. And you can see I've just recorded a chord. I can hear them now as I'm playing them. Okay, let's do the same thing we did. Put it back to quarter notes, half the length, add the gates. Again, it's a terrible sounding chord progression, but you get the picture of how easy it is now to enter chords by step. Of course, you can go in via the dials and do it, but you've got options. Okay. So let's just quickly put something in there. Now I can also move where the cursor's at as to which step I'm editing by hitting Shift and using encoder 9. So you would have seen the cursors going backwards and forwards there, hopefully. So let's just put in a chord. Okay. Now, what I want to do is hit all right. So I can mute the whole chord part by doing that, or I can mute voices in the chord part. You get the picture. It's a really quick and easy way of actually creating some variation in a live performance or a recording. So we've covered that these are your parts. These are your mutes for entire parts. These two rows are your mutes for voices within parts 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next you have scene view. I'm not going to get into that today though, because it's a bit more fundamental to how the Vector operates. It is excellent. What it enables you to do basically is to have your presets selected on this page, numbers of them, and then switch between them using scene rows 6 and 7 here. This video is already quite long though, so I'm going to make a separate one that goes into some of these features once there's time to do so, and when the firmware's finished, because as I said, this is a beta. Now, the bottom row here is really fun. It took me a little while to realize that it was going to be useful to me. I thought, okay, that's fine, whatever. But this morning, in fact, I started mucking around with it and had some good results. It's a dashboard view mode, and what it enables you to do is basically just watch the OLEDs up here. I've just quickly gone to my dashboard mode to see what the start step is for my active parts. Now, if I wanted to, I could change part 7 so that it starts on step 3. But of course, what that's done is instead of playing 4 steps from 1, it's playing 4 steps from 3. So what I would do then is say I only want length of 2. Let's put it back to where it was. Right, so quick and easy edits. That's the reset where the part will reset to with regards to repeats. That's your rate. I can change this to... That's fun. That's a bit chaotic. Yep. I could change octaves. I could transpose. Oh, that's pretty dramatic. Instant Debussy. All right. Look, that was a bit of a whirlwind trip, and I do apologize if you're new to the Vector Sequencer. This will have shown you what it's capable of doing with Launchpad integration, and I do hope that it gets you a little bit excited about what's coming in the new firmware release. Once that release occurs, I'll do another video which will probably just look at each section with a bit more clarity. I hope you've enjoyed this, and have a great day.